Yes, welcome back. As Birmingham's streets are drowning in rubbish, bin strikes turning the city into a rat-infested skip, what do you think the Labour MP for Birmingham Hall Green, Tahir Ali, is focused on? Lobbying the council, perhaps? Calling up his friends in the government? Maybe reassuring residents? Oh no, he's been campaigning for a shiny new airport. No, not one for Birmingham, nor is it Heathrow, Gatwick, or anywhere in the United Kingdom. He's lobbying for a new airport in Kashmir, Pakistan. Yep, you heard that right. Not a peep so far about the filth piling up in his own constituency, but he's all fired up for a runway in Pakistan. 3 hours drive to the nearest airport over there, he moans. Meanwhile, his constituents are wading through trash to get to the bus stop. This is a Labour MP so out of touch, in my opinion, he's practically on another continent already. And it's not just Tahir Ali. 20 MPs, including the likes of Stella Creasy MP, Adnan Hussain MP, Zara Sultana MP, all signed a letter begging for this Pakistani airport in Mirpur. I hope I got that name right, by the way. Apologies if I didn't. But guess what, though? Some of them voted against the Heathrow expansion back in 2018, and those that weren't elected were more than happy to write social media posts criticising the policy. It's utter hypocrisy. And Birmingham's a complete mess, isn't it? There's mountains of rubbish with rats feasting on them like it's a buffet. And yet, Tahir Ali is more concerned about building an airport 5,000 miles away. His constituents can't get their bins emptied, but he's concerned about flight times in Kashmir. Let's get real. No elected politician in this country should be using their UK parliamentary position to lobby foreign countries on the matters of domestic infrastructure unless there is a serious British national security concern. To me, this is a rather telling and frankly disturbing continuation of the globalisation of British politics. Just this week gone, what many are dubbing a pro-Palestine party candidate who stood for the Ilford Independents won a sweeping majority, overturning a massive Labour vote in a council seat in Ilford, London. Yes, the candidate featured a Palestine flag on her campaign literature and made a commitment to human rights both here and abroad, justice for Palestine and Ukraine. Sorry, but local councillors do not have any say or authority over human rights laws in Britain, and they have even less to do so with Britain's foreign policy abroad. You guys are there to represent your local constituents in that local council, not our diplomatic service. And many are pointing out that this is a worrying trend of politicians being elected on a pro-Palestine agenda, only occurring, seemingly, in Muslim-majority areas, such as the council in Ilford election I just mentioned. And I want to issue a stark word of warning. Ethnic and religious minority groups voting for sectarian parties, in my opinion, are inadvertently voting for the rise of the real far right in this country who will organise in direct opposition to these sectarian parties. For every action, there is always a reaction. And I believe there is now a severe, real risk to our peaceful British society due to these new sectarian groups. So perhaps it's time for us all to issue a reminder. Those who hold any political office in this country serve Britain. They do not serve or represent the people of Pakistan, Palestine, or any other foreign country. You are paid by the people of Britain, not foreign countries. If you are so deeply concerned about the domestic affairs of foreign nations, you should simply move to that country and stand for office there instead. Now, we have reached out to Tahir Ali for comments, but he has yet to get back to us. So in the meantime, let's get the thoughts of my panel, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, former Labour Minister Bill Rammell, and political commentator Chloe Dobbs. Bill, you know, I mentioned the Labour Council there in Ilford, the councillor the Ilford Independents, who just took away a massive sweeping majority for Labour. I think it was something above 30%, so it's quite a big turnover. Should we be worried about the rise of these sectarian parties in the UK?
Yes, I think we should, and I'm not a fan of sectarianism in politics in any way, shape or form. But come to the centrepiece of the piece that you've just done. And look, you know, members of Parliament are perfectly capable of working on international issues and domestic issues at the same time. However, on the nub of this issue, the airport in Kashmir in Pakistan, I am concerned about advocacy on behalf of Kashmiri citizens in this country who are actually British citizens and lobbying for them on issues back home. It's a very divisive issue. Certainly, Kashmir is divided. The Indian government would be really concerned about that, which is why the British government hasn't lobbied on the issue. And
just to clarify, because this is really important for the audience to know, this is an area of Pakistan that's under, I think it's not been decided as to, or there's a little bit of controversy as to where it should land, whether it's India or Pakistan.
Absolutely, and it goes back to the creation of India-Pakistan almost more than half a century ago. But it's a really serious issue. When I first became a Foreign Office Minister, we came closest to a nuclear war than we've ever come in the last 50 years because of tensions between Pakistan and India. So I would urge you tread with care. I think the other MPs who've signed the letter are really open to claims of hypocrisy. You know, in favour of an airport in Pakistan, but against Heathrow expansion, which one I think is a good thing, can generate jobs and can generate economic activity. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, quite right. Adu, you know, is there a real threat to the real? I mean, I call this the real far right, and what I mean by the real far, I mean they're not. I mean, a lot of people would call reform far right. I don't think
that's
reform far right by any stretch of the imagination. But I think when parties that are sectarian or representing a small group of people who are perhaps a religious group, for example, I think you're going to get a massive pushback. Are they going to be the cause of this?
Yeah, look, I'm 45 next week, and I don't think I've ever met anyone that is far right.
Yeah.
This nonsense that Keir Starmer, you know, says that we've got a far right problem in this country is just pie in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't know any.
Yeah.
And Tommy Robinson, not far right.
Well, I don't know him. So,
oh, come on, Adam.
I just said, if you listen to what I said, Bill, I said I don't know of anyone that's far right. And I do not believe Tommy Robinson is far right. A lot of his views I agree with, a lot of them I don't agree with. But what we get here by labelling is you do push people further to the right. And now, how can we have areas where people can get elected because of their views on Gaza, something tens of thousands of miles away, and not local issues or not taxes, not, you know, parliamentary issues? This is a real problem in British politics, and we've got to address it.
Yeah, Chloe, I mean, there's loads more we're going to talk about today, by the way, because there's so much on this topic I'd like to unfold. But you know, is this the biggest threat to Labour? Are these independent groups, these pro-Palestine groups, the biggest threats to the Labour Party in the future? This is on Wes Streeting's back door, by the way.
Yeah. And if you look at the election result for Wes Streeting's constituency, it was on a knife edge between him and an independent. I think it might have been less than 1,000 votes between them. I think it was absolutely tiny. You also had Jess Phillips nearly lost her seat to an independent candidate. Although Labour were celebrating their great election result, they actually had a few travesties and a few very close calls. I think that Reform are going to be a big threat to the Labour Party. They've got a heck of a lot of problems, but I think this is actually a really significant issue. And Tahir Ali, just speaking of sectarian politics and focusing on abroad, this is not the first time that he has shown his true colours and shown that he cares more about what's going on abroad than his own constituency, because he stood up and gave a PMQ to Rishi Sunak and said that he had the blood on his hands for the dead children in Gaza, rather than using that opportunity to ask a question that related to his constituency. He's also, don't forget, the guy who stood up and called for basically blasphemy laws in Parliament. I think it's a scary direction we're going in. Yeah,
Bill, how does Labour navigate this? You know, I mean, are we seeing some of these MPs, as we've been talking about here, you know, advocating for domestic infrastructure in foreign countries? That's maybe a smaller issue than Labour than it will be for these parties that are arising, that are essentially now rejecting the Labour Party that would have backed them before. This Ilford candidate, you know, was slamming the local Labour MP. Do you know, is this your biggest threat to the Labour Party?
Well, it's a threat. And look, this is driven by what's happened in Gaza, where there are legitimate concerns amongst communities and people who support the Palestinians and are really concerned about what's happened, with almost 50,000 children, women and men killed. But what's happening is that these sectarian parties are misusing the Labour Party's position, and a lot of them have got an anti-Semitic agenda, and they're poisoning the bloodstream of our politics. And I think the Labour Party's got to stand firm. It's got to make clear what we've done to try and bring about a ceasefire in Gaza, whilst rightly respecting the right of Israel to defend itself, and how this kind of activity, which is wholly one-sided, is not in the interest of people within those communities.
Yeah, well, this is going to unravel, I think, a lot more to come on this topic over the coming days as well. We've got a big follow-up to this coming out very soon on this show later today, so stay tuned. But moving on.